Court of law. All right. We're live. We are live from the Cliffs of Moher. Here we are, live from O'Brien's Tower. Welcome everybody to our live stream from atop the Cliffs of Moher, 700 feet above the Cliffs of Moher. We have O'Brien's Tower over there with the Cliffs of Moher behind us. I'm here with JJ Corry, founder Louise Mc Guane, to taste some whiskey. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you for joining
Whiskey
us
people.
too, whiskey.
We've got whiskies here in front of us. Let me hide this banner so people can see these whiskies. So what are we gonna do here tonight?
So this is sort of the second tasting of all of our whiskies that have been maturing up here at the Cliffs of Moher since June, basically. So they've been sitting in quarter casks since June, very, very fresh sherry casks. We've got Palo Cortado, we've got Amontillado, we've got Oloroso, we've got PX from Montilla and from Jerez, and we've got grain, we've got pot still, and we've got malt that have been sitting here and then finishing essentially their maturation journey up here. And these are about to get yanked from the tower next week, at the end of the next week, and then we're going to start blending and choosing which whiskies we're going to bottle.
These whiskies are so unfiltered and fresh. We can see some char in the bottom of the glass. I want to get a close up of this, just so we can see how. See that char floating around the bottom there. Beautiful. We're going to drink this through a cloth, are we?
We're not. Char is good for you.
Char is good
for you. Yeah.
No extra charge.
Good for digestion.
These are for those who haven't been part of the project up until now. The whiskies were rolled up the hill back in June.
Yeah.
And then 9 50-litre casks were rolled up the hill. They've been stacked inside in the O'Brien's Tower. They've been absorbing the moisture of the Atlantic, which has been perhaps far greater moisture than was even expected in terms of there was just unbelievable humidity and effects on the casks, which was great to see, which is perhaps something that we wanted to see.
Yeah, I think so. And the tower was built in 1823, right? And it has extremely thick walls, and it retains moisture very, very well. But it also gets very warm, certainly at night, and then or in the daytime, I should say, and then the temperature will kind of drop in the evening. So there's interesting maturation conditions that are going on here, and then that combined with the size of the cask, it's had a nice influence. We've certainly seen the colors move on. There's a nice variation in color here, and that all of that color is coming from those small casks, essentially.
Can we acknowledge the backdrop, which we've paid nothing for, which is the cliffs here, which have formed over millions of years to provide the ultimate whiskey tasting experience.
Yeah, the next stop is New York. So if you jump off here and then swim 3,000 miles that way, you're in Boston, I suppose, it'd be closer. Boston or New York. So yeah, this is right on the edge of County Clare and on the edge of Ireland, and one of the most westerly parts of Europe.
We have jerry rigged here, kind of a microphone that's trying to avoid all the wind that's swirling around. As you'll see our clothes blowing. Hopefully it doesn't get picked up on the microphone. I think it should all be good. But we're here to taste these whiskies, the progress of them. We were here, how long ago were we here? 6 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, about 6 weeks ago. Yeah.
And we tasted a big difference in them then. And now we're going to taste the final tasting before they leave the tower.
Exactly.
All right. We have whiskey tasters, professional whiskey tasters. Some of whom have been on the whiskey bus for a week around Ireland, tasting whiskies in 9 different distilleries over the past week, and they're still not done tasting. So they're going to sample these whiskies. Far be it for me or Louise to decide what people like. Our professional tasters here will tell us. So what do we got here?
Cheers. All right, the first one here is a single grain, and this is in Palo Cortado.
Single grain.
Yeah. So Palo Cortado, you normally get sort of lovely floral kind of notes from it, much lighter and sort of floral, I would say, sort of jasmine I always get from it, and that gels really well with the single grain.
Definitely get that wood influence, don't you? You can tell it's been the cask. It's like an old cellar in an extraordinary way.
Yeah.
Oh, the cask strength.
Cask strength. Everything is cask strength. This is well up there in the high 50s.
Wow.
There's a real sherry influence on the back palate of that now. Extreme. Those sort of very light floral characteristics are really coming on the finish there. Really long, buttery.
So this would be maybe the most youthful of the whiskies that are in here, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what flowers taste like.
Have you not been sampling flowers along the way, Rick?
I think this is what flowers taste like.
Yeah.
Like a goat
Yeah.
traveling through the countryside.
Something-
Almost marmalade-y as well, though, I would say.
Something you hear a lot of is it smells like the taste of something, or it tastes like the smell of something,
Yeah.
because the two
This
senses are
tastes
so.
like the smell of something I just can't
Yeah.
figure out what flowers.
Marmalade's a great note.
Yeah.
At one point, I said on the whiskey bus that I almost like the nose as much as tastings,
Yeah,
and they nearly threw me off. But
yeah.
it's true. I really do.
Yes. We're laughing. Hi.
Yeah.
We'll take your credit card
It's a
though if you'd
great
like to come in and.
It's beautiful. It works.
Hi to Kevin and Dawn and Johnny, Jeff, all the Jeffs, some Whiskey Bus Jeffs as well, and yeah, a few Whiskey Bus Jeffs here. People saying hi to Rick and Frank, Jeff Adams saying hi as well. Your fellow Whiskey Busters. We've got people tuning in from all over.
Is Dave on?
I can't tell who's on. I can only see what comments are there at the moment. But
Hi, Dave, if you're there.
give a wave, Dave, if you're there. Mark says, "Wow, what a setting! It is an incredible setting." Just to
Yeah.
kind of show you again what's behind us. It's make no mistake, you're not tuning in to look at us. You're tuning in to look at that, and it's stunning.
That's fine. That's real. That's real, not a set.
That's not green screen. That's not green screen. You'll see people wandering up behind us. But we were going to do it inside the tower, but it was just perfect outside. A bit more wind than we hoped for, but we managed to put our microphone together. And I think if you've got that as an option, you have to go for it.
Yeah, and a very big thank you to the Cliffs of Moher. You know, they were great. They've been so cooperative throughout this whole project with us, and they're kind enough to kind of let us do whatever we want, which is great.
We'll all be sleeping here tonight.
Yeah,
Our guests didn't know this yet.
Yeah, they're a great supporter of local businesses, so I really appreciate it. All right, so verdict on this?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Single grain, but there's more complexity than I'd be used to with a single grain. Like the wood has done its job.
Yeah, remember as well though, and this is important. So all of these started off their lives in bourbon casks, and then they moved into butts, right?
Yeah.
So this was in a Palo Cortado butt. Actually, I'll have to double check if it was a 250 or a butt. But it's for about a year it was already in a butt, and then now it's had its kind of finish in the 50 liters. So you're getting a lot of that cask influence coming through, not just from here. This is just a finish.
Right.
Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
We're all still navigating the steps.
You're too late. You have to go.
That's all right. We have a glass for you there.
There's one.
There you go. That's a grain and Palo Cortado. I'm going to grab another glass.
Jump in there, Jeff, and we'll
Put you on
squeeze you
camera.
in.
Oh, okay.
Louise, how much faster is it happening because of the small cask?
Much faster, yeah. I think it's the interesting thing is like it doesn't tend to. We don't talk about it in terms of speed. It's just more of intensity.
Oh,
So you don't get faster maturation per se. You just get more intense maturation, and this would very much be extractive maturation, meaning we're getting a lot of it sort of coming out of the cask effectively rather than evaporative. You know, so yeah, it speeds it up. You know, not the maturation, but it speeds up that kind of extractive kind of extraction of flavors from the cask because of the size of the cask and the humidity up here as well to some degree.
so there's like more flavor sooner.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not getting. You know, people will tell you that like, oh, it tastes like a 10-year-old. Like you're not. You know, I have a lot of very very old whiskey that like is. You know, I have very, very old whiskey that is extremely pale and looks completely different. It's just whatever, it doesn't go faster, it just goes more intensely depending on the cask.
Use the same glasses for next one, will we?
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious what you think from last time you tasted it because we didn't taste it last time.
Yeah.
How much has it changed?
Yeah, I'd have to look at my notes, but as I recall on the grains the last time, the finishes were very long. were already very long, but that now is an extremely intense and long floral finish. Like to your point, up front you're getting the wood influence, and then in the back end you're getting that real wine influence, that sherry wine influence. Much more pronounced than I remember off the top of my head from the last time, for sure.
So it's close.
I thought it was a bit harsher on the palate last time than now, so there's a bit of softening to it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And that's the reason that we use these fortified wine casks is to get those characteristics coming through. So they're definitely doing their job.
Tony is drinking some of the story to drink with us.
Hey,
Good man,
well
Tony.
done.
Fair
Well
play to you,
done.
Tony. Hi to everybody who's joining us from all across the United States, Southern California, Florida, New York City, Columbus, Ohio. How are you all getting on? I'm sure your backdrops in your living rooms or your kitchens look just like this at the moment. We're making no apologies for these cliffs. We're just taking advantage wherever possible.
So this is the char. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
this is just char. Yeah, this is just more char. Char is actually good for you. You know, they do it for
Is that medical advice now that we're
it
doling
is,
out?
Yeah, it's medical advice.
Char is
yeah.
good for us.
Everybody has
Make
one.
a combo of it. This is gorgeous.
Yeah. Now this is in more grain.
Oh my goodness. That's
PX.
like
This is the PX grain.
Halloween, like the inside of your Halloween.
Yeah.
candy
So yeah,
basket.
Yeah, exactly.
So PX, and this is a good one for everybody. So PX is made from the Pedro Jimenez grape, and what they do is they'll harvest it sort of late in the year. They'll harvest all the grapes. They'll spread them all out. Hello, Cheryl.
Now it's a party.
Woo, that's some steps. Hey.
Are you thirsty?
Oh my God,
Well,
yeah.
you're coming all the way from Las Vegas.
Is there any in there?
Just a tiny bit, 'cause you're-
Small drop.
Next one will be better, I promise.
Okay.
Here, down this one here.
Yeah. So this is going to be very, very high in sugar. Like the original wine that went into it was extremely high in sugar. It's fortified, but the grapes themselves they're kind of like almost like a late harvest, high sugar level. So you're going to get those desserty kind of notes on it essentially, and there's a bit of floral tones from the grain already. Oh yeah, but that's very big on the palate. I only need a tiny bit, unfortunately, but
Oh wow.
It's like spongy.
Yeah, it's good.
and again, it's the same grain that went into that, just different finish, just gone off in a completely
So same
different
exact,
direction. Yeah.
same exact liquid going into
Yeah.
two separate
Yeah.
pots,
Yep.
or
Yeah, butts initially, and then the 50 liters after that. Yeah,
You probably haven't seen those inside yet,
I
have you?
haven't known.
Afterwards, we'll go in and we'll look
Have
at
a
them.
look. Yeah,
There's 9 50-litre casks. They're only quarter the size.
tiny little things.
That's
That's quite robust.
it's very
now.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very heavy wine, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah. You get that wine kind of
For sure.
Definitely.
I'm
alcohol
glad to
meets
see you,
raisins.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Cheryl. Right. So Whiskey Bus 2.0, huh?
This is extension. So some of these whiskies will come over to us into New York, perhaps, for our tasting in September.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was-
Yeah.
It was crazy read.
Wherever you're joining us from, you're very welcome to our virtual. Well, you're joining virtually. We're joining in person, sampling the 9 casks, the final tasting before they go to the farm, JJ Corry, to be kind of scientifically evaluated, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to do a bit of a lab test and a bit of evaluation just to make sure everything's cool and figure out all the ABVs and everything, and then really kind of start forensically tasting these and deciding, is there a single cask in here maybe, or is it a blend? Like just off the top of my head now, that the number one that we tried, that Oloroso Pala Cortado, would make a lovely blend component.
Yeah.
If you wanted to add a bit of floral tones into somebody like it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So that just takes a bit of sitting down and a lot of cerebral kind of thinking. Really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the third sample. So
Did I miss one?
either you
Just
did.
the first one. We'll get it back.
All right.
That's the price you pay now for being late.
Yes.
That's the price you pay.
Yeah.
So we've got some of our Stories and Sips Whiskey Club members here. We've got some of our Whiskey Bus participants who were with us in the last week touring distilleries in Ireland, and some have extended their trip to come to the Cliffs of Moher because, well, look, it's a tasting on the Cliffs of Moher. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Oh, really? Wow.
So this is grain again, but this is Oloroso.
So you get this all
So this is the third grain.
Yeah, third and final grain.
So, folks, this is the third and final grain whiskey that we're tasting of the 9 that we're sampling tonight. And this is Oloroso as well?
Oloroso, yeah.
Cast grain.
Same as the first?
No, first was Palo Cortado.
First is Palo
Palo
Cortado.
Cortado, PX,
Yeah.
Oloroso.
That's so much richer.
Yeah, big leathery kind and tannic as well. I think I always get a lot of sort of that lip smacking kind of thing.
Licorice.
Oh, it's so rich.
That's like dinner, and the other one was dessert. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's body. Yeah.
It's also important as well to think about the structure of these things, because as we're going through a blend, like structurally, what they're doing in your palate is important because it forms component of the blend.
Yeah.
Whoever he is, he's up there.
Give us some of your thoughts as you're sipping here. You are our official whiskey tasters.
Yes. We need your opinions.
We need your thoughts as we go. Doesn't have to be scientific, but
what would it be like if we combined dinner and dessert?
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, could be interesting. We can try that.
so like a vatting of grains.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's like when you do the Thanksgiving leftovers, all the stuff at the end. You do the sandwich, and it has the turkey and the gravy and the cranberry
Yeah.
sauce and the sweet potatoes.
I like that you're comparing this setting to the leftovers from Thanksgiving dinner. So you'll take this as a personal insult. But I see where you're going. Yeah.
It's like a Jones soda. You know that one?
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's the Thanksgiving soda, they call it. And they have all the flavors of
every flavor.
Thanksgiving
Okay.
in one soda. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, they I feel like they've progressed since the last time we
Right?
were here.
Yeah, the wine influence is much more pronounced now.
I think so, yeah.
Much more pronounced than it was.
Any chance of raffling the casks when done, says Kevin. You're going to keep using the casks, aren't you?
I'm going to keep using the casks. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get a few more rounds out of them, definitely. So when they're done, we can look at it.
So I think, question here from Gary, what do I think? I think that these are doing what you thought they would do. Everyone thought they would do is that the cask would do their work.
Yeah.
Because they're smaller casks, virgin casks that were then freshly filled with the wines that were hand selected.
Yeah.
And those notes are coming through, the wine and the wood notes are coming through. These are not distillate forward whiskies, despite being youthful in any way. They're wood forward and
They
wine forward.
They
And
are.
yeah.
And I think that's the magic of like finishing or influencing. We always call it at JJ Corry, we call it cask influence rather than cask finishing, because you're choosing the wines to put in these casks based on the influence that they'll have on the spirit, and that's what we're trying to do here essentially. That's why we go to the wineries and look at the wines and pick them out and all the rest of it. And if you come to the event in New York, we'll have some of those wines with us, and we can taste them kind of side by side, and you'll see the different influences as well.
So, small plug for September 23rd in New York. We're going to host a tasting event with Louise and with some of these whiskies, and there's still tickets available. So you can go to storiesandsips.com if you want more tickets or want more details on that. Storiesandsips.com.
Now we're on a different planet entirely.
So now we're moving on to
Malt, Palo Cortado.
single malt. Single malt. And just a reminder that if you don't want anything picked up on microphone,
Don't say it.
don't say it.
Yeah.
It's a very good microphone. We've
One
no
lane road's terrible.
we've no 5-second button. No 5-second button. We should get one. Anyone who's joining us at the moment, have you ever been to the Cliffs of Moher? Let us know. We're moving on to single malts
Single
now.
malt Palo Cortado.
Palo Cortado.
So yeah, the first one that we had was a grain Palo Cortado. No, we're into single malt. So this is a very, again, usually has lovely kind of floral jasmine
Oh,
notes.
yeah.
But we're in a different world now with the
Very
malt.
different. Very different.
Very different.
Yeah, extremely different. This is where you're seeing the difference of how obviously the grain and the malt are reacting like to exactly the same cask.
It's almost biscuity on the flavor. Like.
Brioche, yeah, brioche.
But kind of green apple, grape, white grape, green apple kind of on the nose a little bit.
You'd
Yeah.
have been in Ireland, we'd have ending every sentence with like.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, Tony's wife and him were there 3 years ago here at the Cliffs.
We all got off the bus saying, yeah.
And Kevin, it's almost 4 years to the day since Kevin's been here. There's Greg and Dawn. Hey, Greg and Dawn. You were there 5 years ago. Gorgeous. Nicholas was there for the first time 6 weeks ago. Nice. And yeah, there's Greg and Dawn.
Yeah.
Hope you got home to Florida all right.
Almost like butter toast.
Yeah.
Butter toast.
This reminds me of
Yeah.
something. I could chase it on the bus, and I can't remember what.
I'm not surprised you can't remember what you did.
Yeah, I hate to go
Oh, yeah.
like low class again, but it's like
Mm.
the buttered
That's lovely.
popcorn
Yeah, no, it's not.
of the
Jelly belly. I knew she was gonna say that.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like movie theater
Yeah, popcorn,
candies
yeah.
and a bit of Mike and Ike in this.
Oh, you think it's licoricey?
No, not licorice. Mike and Ike's.
Oh, that's Good and Plenty. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
The Irish guy telling the American about American candy.
Yeah.
I've eaten enough of it. Isn't it amazing now you're seeing right here, now you get to see all three different styles, grain, malt and pot. Now we've moved on to that second style, how different it is by style from the first, the different notes that are coming through from that base spirit and the wood and the wine.
And what it picks up as well. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't get any buttery notes from the Palo Cortado with the grain at all. We didn't get anything like that, but from the malt, it's as you say, it's really, really kind of pronounced. Yeah, and I think it is popcorn. It is like,
So does that taste close to you? Does that taste like it's almost ready?
oh yeah. I mean, I think all of these are nearly there. Like I think all of these can take water, and I think that they'd be a lot more expressive if we proof them down. And I know everybody loves their cask strength, but all of these, I think, if we added water to these, it'd be even more expressive and even more pronounced in terms of the flavors. But yeah, no, these went in to be designed to be disgorged at around about this time. That was the hope. So I think we're nearly there.
your junior Corrys are usually around what, 46?
Yeah, but we don't have to stick to 46 on this. We'll proof it like so. The stuff that we do consistently tends to be 46, but then there are times we've done really weird things like 48.5 and weird stuff like that. We kind of do it. We'll proof it to what it needs to be proofed at. The liquid will tell you. What we'll do is we'll line everything up and proof it in 2% increments all the way down to 40, and then we'll pick whatever's the nicest one, and then that's what gets bottled.
The winner, yeah.
Yeah, that's what usually wins.
Have you released
Yeah.
casks from JJ Corry's?
We haven't done many. We haven't done any. We did one for the lock-in and a few other higher end bottlings that are in the 50s. But no, but I'm happy to do it. It just depends what the liquid tells us.
Will be led by the liquid.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Flies like it too.
They do. He
They like the
died
sweetness.
happy. He died happy
Yeah.
that flight.
One charge.
Okay, Malt Amontillado, right? This is my personal.
Right. We're moving on to Amontillado sherry casks now for the malt, which very, very different again. And Louise isn't going to lead the witnesses here, but this might be her favorite.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Amontillado. So this is going to be like, well, I'll let you tell me what you think the notes are, but
Beautiful with the sunlight.
Yeah, the color's amazing.
the color
Yeah.
Take a small picture of this pouring.
pretty.
Yeah.
That's
pretty great.
Heaven over there.
That's actually pretty good. That's a good shot.
Oh, here, that is a good shot.
Well, everybody do it then.
This is going to be on the front page of the Cliffs of Moher website.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. For those of you joining in who've just joined us, we're tasting 9 different whiskies for our sins on a Tuesday night on the Cliffs of Moher. And the only downside is it's getting colder. But
It
the
is a little
whiskies-
chilly, but the whiskies are
that's all
keeping
right.
us good and
That's all
warm.
right. Yeah. Rick, we may have a quilt here that we can wrap ourselves up in too, by the way.
What?
It's over there. I brought the quilt up with us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It is warm.
Yeah, on my
For sure.
Instagram in a couple of hours.
So, malt,
Take a
Amontillado.
couple hours.
So, Louise, what can you tell us about Amontillado?
So Amontillado is like the sort of second,
So when you going back?
no, the third kind of
Whiskey
iteration.
tasters, pay attention. We're talking about Amontillado.
Amontillado is like the third kind of stage of maturation for sherry. And sherry, when it's matured, in the beginning stages, it has like a fungus that grows on top that they call the floor, and the phenos and the Palo Cortados mature under that. And then what you do with Amontillado is you want to kill the fungus that's sitting on top of the wine, and you do that by adding alcohol, adding brandy into the wine, and it dies at 15% ABV. And then the Amontillado then continues to mature but what they call oxidatively, like whiskey. So with nothing on the top of it. So you get a lot of air contact, you get a lot of evaporation, you get much more intense flavors, and it tends to taste like hazelnuts, like the wine itself, and it tends to again be very tannic in this particular case. So the mouthfeel on this is very astringent and very like lip smacky, I think. And the body of this is particularly interesting.
So single malt, about 6 years old,
Yeah.
and then being finished for the last 6 months, is it?
It'll be a year and a bit in totality, but like coming from the butt going into the quarter cask essentially.
Yeah.
So I'll give the exact numbers. I'll
Right.
go into the records, but
Again, very rich nose,
Yeah,
Dark
it is
fruits.
lip snaky.
it is lip smacking, right?
brown sugar.
Feels like it dries out your tongue
Yep.
really fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so structurally, then this would be important if we're doing a blend, because that's what that would blend, you know.
Yeah.
It's a little darker,
A little
sweet.
ready, like
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Me too.
I think that's lovely. That's possibly has the least cask influence so far, I would say, in terms of the distillate, really kind of the malt coming through, the cereal notes. They're more pronounced there for me.
It goes from sweet to kind of figgy, almost stewed fruits
Yeah,
notes, a little bit of kind of fermented note coming through at the back of it.
yeah. And a little bit of hazelnut, Nutella kind of as well, almost
Mm.
for me at the very, very back end, the very finished.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's all dark.
Yes.
Dark,
Dark,
Very
yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate, dark something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's
Molasses. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So over the past few months, the moisture, because we're right, I mean, we are on the ocean here. There's the Atlantic Ocean. We're 700 feet above it. The moisture levels have been really helpful to the whiskey maturing and expanding and contracting that cask and the changes, the slight changes in temperature here. But it's a much different environment here than 30 miles away where you are in the farm.
It is, yeah. It's extremely humid in here. The last time we were in here, we had notebooks out and they were getting all soggy.
Yeah.
Like the humidity levels, God only knows what they were, which isn't great for a very long period of time, but it's not bad for a short period of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's reacted very differently. This is delightful. This
Yeah.
is like raspberries. Hang on. This is the next
Is that
one.
the next one?
Yeah.
Did you notice that, like, the heat wave that you had in the last couple of weeks? Do you think that made a difference?
Yeah, you'll just get a bit more intense extractive maturation. So a lot of the casks in there, we'll see them in a minute, but they kind of not exploded, but the liquid had kind of was sort of trying to get out basically, and you can see in there, and that would have been from the hot days, cold days, cold days, because I'd say it was very, very warm in there during the heat wave piece. So again, when it does that, that means that your liquid is expanding and contracting in extremes, so you're getting all that flavor being brought in. All right, next one up is and the nose on this is a banger. Next one up is Single Malt in Oloroso, which I think you liked the last version of this. Yeah.
Single malt and Oloroso. So all of these are singles right now, single grain, single malt, single pot still, and then the decision will be made over the next few weeks as to what happens then. Are they going to be released singly? Are they going to be vatted? Are they going to be blended? So more kind of lab analysis of ABVs and tasting and nosing again. So this is would not be considered a formal academic tasting, I think you'll agree, but more try and taste the progress and give some of our Whiskey Club members a chance to try it. Thank you. That's pretty. Thank you. So this is single malt, finished in the Oloroso 50-litre cask.
Yeah, it's very sweet, fruity.
Yeah, give it a big old berries, right? Raspberry, I guess. Very fresh berries.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Oh, that's a lovely balance on the nose.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red berries, bit of grain.
I smell a little banana.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what people get as well sometimes when they get banana is like candy corn.
I love
Oh, yeah.
candy corn,
that's
so
good.
that's
Yeah.
possible.
Get a little bit of bang of that.
Yeah, that's a good note. That's a great
Yeah.
note.
In Scotland,
Yeah, bananas
like
foster.
a much younger
There's
a distillery called Clydeside in Glasgow. And their new make, it was like banana. It was like just straight bananas.
Bananas.
Yeah. Well, we went down the stairs to Bushmills last week, and it's just bananas. Bananas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just you walk in, it's like you're in a banana factory. It's banana.
Yeah.
There's bananas.
Just banana. They may be making bananas. We don't know. It's not clear.
Oh, it's funny.
Let me see. Jason says I need you guys to keep aging them until November. Oh, Jason, they'll be in our bellies by then.
Long gone.
Gary says he wants to take one of these. Gary, you can take 20 of them or 30 of them if you want once they get bottled up. Okay, I haven't tasted this yet, but the nose of this now is maybe my favorite nose of the
Me too.
of the whiskey so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely balance to it.
There's a banana and nut granola bar that I buy all the time. This reminds me of it a lot.
Banana and granola.
Banana and nut.
Banana and nut.
Yeah.
A bit of a creme brulee as well.
Drier on the palate.
Yeah.
Yeah, very dry on the palate. Yeah,
As you said,
and
kinda
less
like sugar.
not as large on the palate
No.
as the last. What do we have? The Amontillado.
So do you ever come across that where you find for blending you've got this amazing nose on one, you've got an amazing palate on the other? Can those carry through to a blend?
Yeah, so what you're trying to do in a blend, what we do is we approach it with layers, right? So when you drink a glass of, the Gale is a good example for us. Like what we're trying to do is bring you on kind of a journey of layers of different flavors.
Yeah.
So your nose should be a surprise compared to the front palate, the mid palate, and the back palate. Like
Yeah.
you're aiming to try to get layers of experiences going on in the palate.
Right.
Sometimes that comes through. So for this, for example, amazing nose on that's really, really, really interesting. And then there was a beautiful floral, really long floral finish on that, for example.
Yeah.
And then the Amontillado had a lovely kind of astringent mouthfeel. So let's say if you were messing around starting to blend, and you wanted to do something that had a lovely floral finish, well structured mouthfeel, but a lovely fruity nose, you'd start blending those to see where you kind of ended up. And then it's just a case of ratios, of experimenting with a lot of ratios to try to get them into the right balance,
Right.
depending on what you want it to be more pronounced or not. It's not an exact science blending.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of alchemy involved. Like,
Yeah,
it's a flavor-driven thing, you know.
Any questions from our esteemed group of professional chatters?
It's delicious.
We're just going to be playing it back so we don't dry.
I was saying how the wind like blowing across the Irish countryside to the cliffs of Moher, like via my mouth, it really helps.
You're trying to write some tasting notes live here for us? This is
So you
sign
got
her
the
up.
green grass note and the salt air note.
Don't be won over by the romance of it all.
Yeah.
Focus on the whiskey. Don't mind that.
It's a little like breath fresh.
Yeah, there you go.
Ha ha ha. Just kidding, guys.
But these will taste very different in a lab compared to
They will, yeah.
here.
You can't
know,
not
that's the
be
other thing. Like,
effective.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, like
look-
like the wind
come
blowing
on.
across my tongue is not something I usually feel when I'm trying to think of what the finish is like. You know,
Yeah.
it's like affecting it in a
Right.
nice way. Really.
Yeah. The problem now is we're setting the bar a bit too high that
I know.
future whiskey tastings would have to be either from a cask or on top
Yeah,
of a cliff, which may not always be possible
Like Italian wines taste different when you're at the vineyard, right?
in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
They do. John says, what a day for a tasting. I agree.
John,
I'd like
you
to.
have no idea.
I mean, the only complaint, if you can have one, is that it's cold now, but that's not a reading.
It's not cold. It's a little
I have thin skin.
Yeah,
chilly.
this one too.
degrees.
Is this yours?
Not cold.
This one is mine.
Yeah,
This is probably one of the first Irish whiskey tastings that's ever happened up here.
Hey!
Yes.
It's pretty good, you know.
Yet another.
The Cliffs haven't allowed this in
No,
the
it's,
past for obvious reasons.
we're breaking all kinds of laws.
Okay, malt PX, single malt PX.
Single.
And those two remaining in our pot, are they?
Yeah, these are pot.
Okay, so malt, single malt, Pedro Jimenez, 50-litre cask.
Again, this is a very, very high sugar, really, really rich stewed fruit.
The sweetest of all the sherries.
Okay, don't anyone be mad, but I kind of smell like prunes or
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
dates or
Dates.
something like that.
We're not mad.
Well, yeah, I know prunes kind of have a weird.
No, prunes is a great
They
note for
have a bad
PX.
rep, but they're a good note.
Well, there's a kind of an astringent. How would you describe a
Yeah.
prune note? It's like beyond sweet. It's gone to the other side of
Yeah,
sweet.
it's gone to the
It's
other side of sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
the dark side of
Cloying
sweet.
almost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But that's not uncommon for PX.
Plums,
Is it?
prunes,
Figgy, raisiny.
Figgy raisiny, yeah.
Trying to avoid
or
prunes.
fig.
How about fig?
Fig is better. Fig is
Fig,
good.
fig,
Fig is good.
The other one was
Ripe
Halloween,
fig.
this one's-
There you go.
Ripe fig. Really
Yeah.
squishy ripe fig.
There you go.
Or even like a fig compote, you know, when you've mashed it all together, basically.
Yeah, it's a fig Newton, yeah.
So we spent 7 days on a whiskey bus, and we saw rain for about 10 minutes in 7 days. And some of our whiskey bus people are here joining us from back in Indiana now, and they're saying so about the fact that it normally rains in Ireland, Barry, and they're looking at this.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that yet again, no rain.
We've been so fortunate.
It's like the
Very
Caribbean.
fortunate.
It's like the Caribbean.
Yeah, it really is. This is
lovely.
now this might
is-
be my
yeah,
new
yeah.
favorite nose.
Yeah, this might be my
This one's really good.
this might be my new favorite palette actually. The Oloroso remains front for me in the nose.
I like that fig action.
Mm.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Oh
That's
yeah.
lovely.
Is this the pot?
Oh, that's very. Oh,
This is malt. This has single cask potential. I'm saying it. I'm putting it out
I
there.
100% agree with you.
Putting it out there.
100% agree with you. That's our single cat. We're taking
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
putting it
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, definitely. We'll
That's-
call it
Yeah,
60.
That's
and I wouldn't even that'd go
The
cask
crack
straight
in the
no
cliff.
problem.
malt PX.
Malt PX. Yeah,
That's
very good.
That's ready.
Yeah. Yeah. and-
Second or third or however many there were. I'm in.
Yeah.
We have envelopes here that you can put your cash into. No, we don't.
Is there an ATM down there?
Yeah, that's lovely now.
How about an IOU?
€5.
It's a promissory note.
We'll take IOUs things when we're being recorded. We'll take IOUs. That's a winner.
That's a winner.
That's
big,
an
that's a
absolute
big
winner.
That's a good one.
Big winner. Big
Is it-
winner.
You know the way you taste some of the whiskeys, and something pops to the mind up front. It might be the wine, it might be the wood, it might be the spirit, it might be some combination. But this one, there's this lovely kind of layering.
Yeah.
It's where everything comes
The
together.
balance. The balance.
is
there.
absolutely
right
there. Yeah.
It's just coated my whole mouth.
Sweet
It's so
spice.
Lovely mouthfeel that goes on. That's really good. Actually, that's
Mm.
outstanding. Actually.
People are going to start thinking we know what we're doing. We have to be very careful.
All right.
good. Someone say something stupid, but no, never mind.
So-
PX. Or, sorry, pot still. I'm cold now.
Do you want to?
Is there a jumper? Is there a jumper?
Yeah, it's
Is there a jumper in the house?
When you go, that's what we put.
I'll wear that. Sorry, if you don't want it yourself. Thank you. What a gentleman. Look at this.
Yeah, honey.
What a gentleman.
Jack,
Thank you.
I will freeze for whiskey.
No, he's a man.
Oh.
He's an
Okay, so pot still. Finished off with pot still.
He's probably a wet man.
All right,
Yeah,
so we're
right.
moving on to the two final whiskies, which are pot stills, single pot still whiskies.
And we have an Oloroso and a PX.
So, which
Yeah.
one?
We'll start with Oloroso. And the color on this one is the lightest, funnily enough.
Can I show that up to the camera again?
Yes,
Let me just
yeah.
show the color here.
It's a little blurry. Go back. There you go.
There you go.
Let's get the logo too. Let's get the JJ Corry logo. Look at that. You can see the char floating around in here. So unfiltered as of now, cask strength. Obviously no color added. Nice little logo there. All right,
All right.
here we go. Chief pourer. John wants to know which bodega was your favorite to visit, Louise.
Delgado.
Delgado.
He has one.
Yeah, it's in Cordova, which is in Montilla, and they have
We'll get you when you turn around to the mic.
Yeah, that's better.
yeah, Bodega Delgado. There's two that I really like: Bodega Delgado and Bodega Robles. They're both family owned, and Delgado is down a side street in Cordova. It was founded in the 1700s, and they literally have 110-year-old Amontillado kind of sitting in a corner. And then Robles is the same. They have these beautiful bodegas out in the vineyards, and you walk in there, and there's just these not forgotten casks exactly, but like just these discoveries that you find all over the place, and they're real hidden gems, and they're not commercial at all. These places, they're not big tourist spots. So, and I love the people there, and I love the wines. So those two, a lot. There's several of the casks from both of those places that are here. Very different again.
Very, very different. There's
There's a little bit of that berry that we had with the malt Oloroso
there is
again.
yeah. Joe, there's almost like cantaloupe melon.
Yeah.
I was going to say salty, yeah.
Yeah.
Some-
Yeah, like almost a salted caramel kind of a thing.
There's a very light dusting of second-hand antiques. Like
Mm.
It's musty.
Either don't like the taste, and also don't like the whiskey.
It's like walking into an antique shop and inhaling, you know.
Can Julie come to the next whiskey bus?
Oh man.
Yeah.
With those cast strings, ceiling cast strings over here.
See that picture that I posted from Dick Max of Finone's book?
Oh yeah,
And-
it's
and
down all signed, was it?
Yeah, I
It's
got
signed,
some
but
too.
Yeah,
it's all like
dog-eared
woolly
and
I
yeah.
was like, tastes kind of like
Some
that.
good tasting notes in that. I haven't tasted it yet now.
It's lovely. It's very well structured as well.
Mm.
So smoky,
Leather.
but I did just get a mouthful of char.
Leather.
Yeah, I'm getting a little smoke too, but
There's an antiqueness again that follows
Yeah.
through.
No, there is.
There
It's
is.
like leathery kind of
vintage.
furniture polish, kind of
Vintage.
old polish, beeswax.
Like whiskies that you might open up from a different era, where sherry, typically, you know, you've got these old sherry casks,
Yeah.
and this one is Oloroso, Pot
Oloroso
Oloroso,
pot, yeah.
yeah.
Pot.
So Louise, if you like the finish on this one, say, and you blend it with a different, will the finish on this one stay through? Is that your hope, or does that not usually happen that way?
It depends on what it depends, right? It depends on what else you're bringing it with. So you have to pick something with a very pronounced finish. So something with a very pronounced finish should, if you're blended in the correct ratio, carry kind of through. If you put two things with really pronounced finishes together, they're going to be fighting with each other, and you don't know where you're going to end up. But yeah, like that's really nice actually. And
I really like this one.
We haven't done a pot still yet at all.
Never?
with Ginger Corry. We've never done it because I am not. I have a load of it, but I didn't want to release it young. I didn't fancy it young, basically. So
Will
we've
this
never
change
done
your mind
it.
a bit?
No, this will, yeah, because because we're manipulating it now and bringing it on in
Yeah.
a very different place.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, this will change my mind a bit. We haven't done it yet, but I've been dying to do it.
That is a very different whiskey than I was expecting, and has changed dramatically,
Dramatically,
in the last
yeah.
few weeks. Like dramatically, we got none of those notes last time.
No. Yeah, it was very. Do you know what? It was very distillate forward still the last
Mhm.
time, and that's my thing with pasta. It remains distillate forward for a long, long time.
There's no water needed in this at all.
No,
Just as it is.
and I wouldn't say it's interesting. I wouldn't say the same for all of them. Some
No.
of them would need water.
Yeah.
This can stand up on its own.
That now might be up there with the single malt
Malt PX.
PX. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
I hope somebody's taking notes here, because we're not.
I
am.
Here, lads,
I'm gonna
ladies,
get a
take
pen
notes
out.
up here, folks.
I'm
Send them in to us.
gonna get my
I
pen.
didn't know how to ask, but that didn't taste cask straight.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, yeah, and it is,
obviously,
yeah, obviously, yeah.
But is it? Could it possibly be less
No,
than?
no, it
As
is
in-
what it is.
as
Like,
in,
yeah, like
would it be possible to?
Would
Or
it be possible that it's less
slower in ABV.
lower in ABV
No.
than the others?
No, I mean these are all ABV going into cask, and they tend to. There's not a lot of evaporation here, and the ABV drops very slowly in the early years. So no is the quick answer to that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's why it's really interesting. Like so,
yeah, that
some you can really taste the ABV, and it's hot up front, and then the others it doesn't come through at all, like because of how balanced it is.
Is that what people call smooth?
Yeah, that's what people
Like
call
an easy drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you don't get that ABV up
it's
front.
very dangerous if it's castrated.
And they are super dangerous. Super dangerous.
Sneak up on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do. They
for
sneak
sure.
up on you.
No doubt.
Yeah. Okay, last one. This is lovely too, actually. So this is pot still. This is our last pot still again.
Look at the color
Yeah,
on
just
that.
high sugar.
Yeah, look at the color. Wow. Ooh, there's plenty of char in
There's a load of char. I'll get you some char.
yeah. Give me some
you
char.
have to pay extra for the char now, folks.
Here, go last, Cheryl.
Go last now.
You charge it?
Okay.
No, I'll give you one. I'll
Yeah,
write
mix it up, mix
there,
it up.
Write it up.
See, there we go. Yeah, perfect.
The Cliffs
Thank
give everything
you.
character, says John. They do. Steve says, sounds like there needs to be a couple single casks released at cask strength and a couple of blends. Yeah. It's amazing the number of variables that could happen because of this.
Yeah.
Grand, yeah. Leave a drop in for yourself.
Um.
Oh.
So yeah, so this is our pot PX. And this is a very high sugar PX. Is one of the. This is a Bodega Delgado PX, and they have one of the highest sugar contents of PX in all of Spain, basically. So
Not the dark fruits I was expecting on the nose, more kind of lighter notes.
no, but I get this a lot more distillate character now from this one than I do from the last one.
Ooh, what a finish.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely whiskey. Mint Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
Yeah, mint, certainly peppermint,
Like a spicy
Peppermint, menthol, sweetness.
menthol.
Oh, I like that. We might have to do another small little draw on that one.
We can do. That's very interesting,
That's what
actually.
I love about
Yeah.
pot still is like the finish on this.
That's very different, isn't it, to the other pots too?
I feel that in my sinuses.
Yeah.
That's the mint or
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Mint is right there. So I remember I used to love Tic Tacs when I was younger, and when I finished the box, I'd always smell the inside. I love the smell of a Tic Tac box, and this is what I'm getting. I'm getting the smell of a Tic Tac box.
You were preparing yourself for this.
At 5 years old, I knew that one day I'd be standing in the cliffs. If I could dream big enough, I could be on the cliffs.
Okay, well that's our cast samples, but we'll finish out the chat with a little Banner County blend.
Whoa!
We're in County Clare.
Delicious.
We're in County Clare.
Let's show this up to the camera
You
there.
can
We have a
only
little,
buy this in County Clare, so it's pretty appropriate.
there we go.
That we're doing
Very
it here.
Is that the one that came out of your backpack?
Yeah, you bought one. You bought one too. You brought it with you.
I did.
He brought one for signing, did he?
I did.
He didn't bring it for sharing, just for signing. You'll notice.
That's right. We'll not be opening this one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just had it about an hour ago.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
It's definitely a match.
This is the last batch, so.
Mark says sounds like 3 single
This
casks.
is very good whiskey.
Single malt, PX, single pot cellar also.
The last
Yeah,
batch was,
Mark, I'm with you.
I can't remember. This is spring batch. So I was only a couple of hundred.
That's
Like,
your
um,
Oh, thank you.
It's a match. Yeah.
Thank you.
oh, it's spring train. Yeah, this batch is gone now. We're just on to the next batch.
I'd say 6.
Yes, same one.
Wow.
fiddle and bow.
Oh yeah, Fiddle and Bow. They're
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So tell us what makes up the Banner blend.
So actually, Eric always blends this for us. So and he's actually leaving.
It's very sad.
It's sad. So if you want to, so the next batch of Banner blend will be the last one he ever blends. So I'd get a hold of that one. But we always pull from the same malt kind of stock. So it's usually a 2006 malt and then a blend of different grains, various different ages, but kind of all the way up to 12 years old. And we still have that batch of 2006 malt, so we'll still be pulling from that. And you can only buy it in County Clare. Just because, why not? You know, we have to do something for the home county. But yeah, and it does very well.
The Clare County colours as well.
Exactly, Clare County colours. And this is a good kind of example of JJ Carter's lovely, big, fresh fruit forward.
For those of you who are fans of Croke Park, it's not often you'll see these colours.
Yeah.
How dare you? Just to clarify, County Clare is one of the better sports counties in Ireland. They excel at hurling and football, both of those things.
Big stretch now.
And these are our county colours. And many is the time I have spent in Croke Park celebrating our glorious wins.
Up Cork.
And don't forget the music and the good cheers.
Yes.
To Claire,
To
then.
Claire.
Up
To
Clare.
Clare.
On the banner.
All right, we'll say this is like a Tourism Ireland there. Yeah.
It's a magazine cover.
Yeah, really, honestly.
Well, whiskey tourism is a thing.
I've never heard of it.
Oh,
They're like buses and trains next.
Someone should put a bus together or
They
something
should,
like
they
you
should.
know,
Cruises and castles.
We should we take a boat to the New York tasting?
There's a boat going there if you catch it.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a little selfie here, folks, while
Yeah,
we're
they're in time for next year.
Yeah.
while we're live? Because let's waste everybody's time who's watching us with a selfie. We'll happily waste their time.
Get in here. Get in here, you guys.
Okay. Can everyone see themselves? Rick can't see you. There he is.
good one.
Nice.
Yeah. Wind in the hair. Wind in the hair.
Can I put you on the spot?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Spray, you know. And you
Right.
can take them up to the cliffs and
Where do you want me to sign it?
Wherever you like, wherever you think. Your bottle.
We should have got one too for prior.
Yeah.
Could have got our sign too.
Well, we were drinking.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
How much do you want for that side there?
We've got some feedback
Lost
online. People
opportunity.
following along reckon 3 single casks. The Malt PX
The Malt PX, I put
and
it
the
on
2 pot stills.
Pasta Oloroso, the 2 pastas, Pasta Oloroso, Pasta PX, and the Malt PX.
That's.
All right.
I'm not against that.
I'm not against it.
Let's put a little kind of
Yeah.
a suggestion. Fair play, folks.
Suggestion,
Those are good suggestions. Mark and Steve on those. I would agree with those now at the moment. Interesting to see maybe where they go.
Yeah.
Let's have a think about it.
I definitely think that Malt PX was an absolute delight.
That's the issue right there. I was at the lighthouse.
And now moving on to a blend, we're getting a chance to see what happens when you both cut and you blend.
Yeah.
And
So we've got that lovely malt, the Oloroso with the big raspberry tones going on to it. Lovely structure with the Amontillado and the flower, the florals and the grain, Palo
Yeah.
Cortado. I would start messing around with the blend with those 3 to see kind of where we end up.
No,
I mean, you're a bonder and a blender.
Yeah.
You're not typically a single casker.
No, but we only do single cask if it merits it. You know what I mean? And honestly, like the I'd be happy. I'd be proud enough to like stand behind a single cask of those 3 you mentioned, definitely. But yeah, we'll do them when the single cask sings, you know. And I think there's a few here that do.
Gary's sipping on some Hansen right now. Very good.
Yeah.
I love the way people turn up
I know.
with the whiskey in hand.
Bit of Gigi Corry, I love it.
The
Thank
story,
you.
the Hansen,
Yeah.
banner blend. The sun is setting. Almost, well, another hour, I'd say it'll be gone.
You will be gone in an hour. I better stop drinking because I have to drive home. I just remembered.
We'll be up here for 3 hours. But let me move the camera around and show people a little bit what we've got here. All right.
Guys,
So,
whiskey tasting on the Cliffs of Moher. 5 stars.
right.
Would recommend.
Here's the tower behind us.
I want to get warm.
I just don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow evening.
He's showing everybody else the tower.
We'll have to watch TV.
Go over there.
So what are those?
Sun.
That's Carrie over there.
That's fun.
Yep.
Iron Island's over there.
The cords won't reach.
Connemara, the peaks.
Zoom in on Aran Islands there. Look, like we're there.
That's Hag's Head of the end there.
Yeah.
So, the week before the bus, my brother-in-law and I hiked from Hag's Head up to here, and then today the hike from Doolin to here. It's so different.
Yeah, it's very flat this way.
Yeah, it's very flat
But
that
you,
way.
you have
And
700 feet climbing to do.
Yeah.
I've done that about 20 times.
Yeah.
they're very different. Most beautiful.
Serious climb.
Yeah.
Cross
There were
country
people.
as well.
There were people turning around.
Yes.
Now there's 2 practices. One where you can keep to the edge and it literally is on the edge. Or you can take it safe. There's a path to the left and you go steep and over. So which way did you go?
So I took the edge, all but one like 50 foot section.
Right.
I was inside the fence, or I was outside for about 10 minutes. I don't know how far, like 10 minutes. And I got to like a 50-foot section, like here to that guy in the vest. And I'm like, I'm by myself.
I
There's
know.
nobody
I
around.
see.
Not that
Yeah.
it matters.
Safety first.
But the
Yeah.
wind was changing so quickly. It wasn't windy, but it was changing
Yeah.
really quickly. I was like, so I turned around and went back.
And then it went around.
If you're interested in these whiskies and like what you're hearing from the tasting note perspective, you can sign up on storiesandsips.com/cliffs. If you don't already get our emails, we'll be keeping you up to date on what's happening in the whiskies over the next few weeks and month, and should be able to get these put in bottles once we figured out the blend or the casking, and get them over to the US very, very quickly. We'll actually ship them directly from retailers in Cork, and absorb some of your shipping costs for you, so that we can get them to you as quickly as possible. But if it's your first time joining us, go to storiesandsips.com/cliffs. Excuse me. And there's a space at the bottom of the page to add your email address. And once you do that, we'll be able to keep you up to date on the progress of these. These came to the Cliffs in June, and that's when we started the project. We kicked off the project with a video. There's an 8-minute video on that page that gives you an overview of this work. We're going to be sharing next week a video interview with Rafa, the man behind the casks. His Casknolia cask company in Spain designed the cask, made the casks, and we did an hour-long interview with Rafa, which we'll put live over the next week in Stories and Sips on storiesandsips.com. And then once Louise has a chance to spend some lab time with the whiskies and understand their ABVs a bit more, we'll have more information for you. And then we'll also taste some of these within the next 3 weeks in New York on September 23rd. So if you'd like to join us in New York, if you're in the United States on the East Coast or want to fly in, we're hosting a tasting event on September 23rd in the East Village in New York, in a place called the Copper Still. And you can find all those details on storiesandsips.com as well. And just pop your email address into our website and we'll share all those details with you. What else can we tell you about?
Yeah, right.
The view never gets old, says Jason. I know, it's beautiful. Laurie's at work. Yeah, I know it's very early in the afternoon in the East Coast right now, and the West Coast, very early in the West Coast, 11 a.m.? Or no, coming up to noon, West Coast in the US. 8 o'clock here. As you can imagine, this crowd here probably won't want to go home, and they'll probably want to stick around, or at least go for a pint, so the session might continue down in Doolin. So we're about a 10-minute drive from Doolin, famous, both a fishing village, famous for Irish music, famous for the ferry that you can get to the Aran Islands, famous for being just a real hub of Irish culture and music, really, and a beautiful, small, untouched, really, village, and some great pubs, great spots there. We'll have a bite to eat. We'll have 1 or 2 whiskies. Whoop, there is that. Things are blowing. What? The wind has come up. Whoa, blowing the... All right. It blew the whiskey out of my glass. All right. Well, that's probably a good note to say.
The universe says, tasting over. Bye, guys.
Kristen's holding. All right, I got it. Yeah, perfect, thanks.
You good?
Yeah. You see the wind blowing. Everyone's hair is blowing like a gale. Dave wants to know, how did the whiskey get to the tower? It was driven up on golf carts, in the back of golf carts, and electric golf carts from the car park. And so it was transported here, and then brought up on these golf carts, put inside the tower. And they've been there for the past 3 months, June, July, August, 2.5 months, and they'll be leaving the tower now on Monday or Tuesday. So their time here has ended. Their work, the tower's work is done, the Cliff's work is done, and now it's time to go to the lab and have them proofed, tasted some more, and then decisions will be made. All right, we are going to log off here. Thanks everyone for joining us. We've got some good tasting notes. We've got some good indicators of preference and styles that we like here. We'll keep you up to date. So put your details in storiesandsips.com. And folks, could we give a big goodbye from the Cliffs? Wave to everyone. Thanks everyone for joining us. And we'll raise a glass to you all, and we'll have a glass with you at some point in the future, I'm sure.
Cheers.
Sláinte. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Wish you were here.
Is that true?
Yeah.